said nothing. Hey everybody, how you doing? How you doing? Forgot to turn my camera on. Hi baby, hi baby. Hi Laverne, hi Camille. I love you too, sweetie. Hi Donna. Hi Barbara, hi Tracy. How you guys doing today? Who is a hot one? Hi Letha. Hi friend. Colleen, how you doing, sweetheart? Hey Faith. Oh, it is a hot day today. Golly. I hope y'all doing okay. Let me get this mic over here so y'all can hear me, because I have a tendency to forget all about my mic. Yes, Colleen, it is rather hot, like fire. Hi, Valerie. What's up, Fonda? Make sure I ain't got no lipstick on my teeth. Boss lady, what's up? What's up? Yes, ma'am. Yes, I have. I have been watching, especially today. So we're going to discuss this today. I think it's going to be a hung jury because of the one juror that can't make a decision. Well, from what I understand, they've already come to a decision on 2, 3, 4, and 5. They're stuck on charge number 1, which is the RICO. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, Laverne. We're going to have a panel up here tonight. I would like a panel up here so we can discuss everybody's thoughts on this. Not just my thoughts, everybody. I want everybody to have their input on what they think is going to happen. Yeah, because that one juror number 25, was not being very cooperative with following the judge's instructions. And they wrote a note to the judge complaining about this particular juror. So I'm sure that they're looking at this dude. He is, let me see if I got that information in front of me. I might not now. I took my book in the other room. He's a vet. He's a veterinarian. Yeah. Barbara says, we haven't got our hell temps yet. Still in the 90s. Wish it stayed like this all summer, but I know it's wishful thinking. Good grief, 90s. Man. That's a possibility, Faith. That's a possibility. It's not a very likely person that would go against the grain. You know what I'm saying? This guy is apparently a member of the LGBTQ community, has a partner. He has I'm just thinking off the top of my head. He has a degree, a master's, I believe, in microbiology, and he's a veterinarian in Manhattan. Hi, Alfreda. How you doing? So there's a lot to consider, but either way it goes, there's so many different things to think about. Hi, Retretta. I think so too, Barbara. The bottom line is, even if they don't convict him on the RICO, he ain't coming out of prison anytime soon. I hear you, Faith. I hear you. So I'm just giving people time to come in so we can get some different perspectives on this, because there's a lot to cover in this case. It's very intricate. The main charges are they're stuck on the RICO, Colleen. Hi, C. Gonzalez. Yeah, they're stuck on that RICO. And the thing about the RICO is that that's where he could lose all of his money. If he's found guilty of the RICO charges, that's a wrap on his finances, meaning his kids, his mama, everybody associated with him. Anything that his money has touched or purchased for them is gone. His mama's house that she's living in, gone. The house he lives in, gone. Yes, the big charge. But if you take a look at the statute, I mean, if you look at the different charges, that all you need is two charges to be found guilty. But see, the problem is that everybody has to agree to two of those charges under the RICO Act. Now, if there's different charges, yes, Camille, they do. If they have different charges, say 10 charges, and two people agree on charge number 2 and 3, and then another 4 people agree on charges number 3 and 6. Well, no, it has to be, everybody has to agree on at least two of the same charges under that RICO. So that's where they're running into trouble. Oh, I'm sure she did, Barbara. I'm sure she did. I ain't studying her. I said all I got to say about her. That's all I'm going to say about her. So, yeah, I guess one of her people came in and did timestamps in my comment sections of the different things that I said about her. And I thought that was really interesting too. So, hi, Leo the Lion. LaWanda's in the house. Good to see you guys. No, she's not. But I just had to let her know that this is what I think about her. And if you can dish it out, you should be able to take it. Hi, Tawana. I fixed that video, by the way. I did a new member shout out video because YouTube had scrambled my membership up with a bunch of different other people that were not members. So they haven't announced it yet, Colleen, but they've settled on charges 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now, what they are convicting him on out of charges 2, 3, and 4, and 5, we don't know. But they've settled. They've 2, 3, 4, and 5 are no longer a topic of discussion. Oh, thank you, Camille. Yes, I hope so. There should be. Yes, Lawanda, there should be. This doesn't make any sense. You cannot circumvent the rules. You cannot. So YouTube is going to have to do something about that. And every time she raises her head after, losing all these channels, every time she does it, they just need to get smacked right back down because you can't do that. Auntie, I have a question for everyone. If this was your son, would you still be thinking in a negative way or would you think different? I feel sorry for those children. If this was my son, see, thing is as a mother, you still love your children no matter what. And I know that his mother / aunt, I don't know if it's his aunt, his mom, she raised him, so she's a mother figure. That's still her son in her eyes. And I mean, truthfully, she's kind of part of the reason why he turned out the way he did. And I do feel sorry for those children. But now here's the other thing. Here's the flip side about some of them children, especially those boys. Those boys have got some issues now as a result of being under his tutelage. I know one of them is about to be indicted soon, from what I understand. Hi, Brenda Gordon. How are you, sweetie? Hi, L'Oreal Michelle. Thank you. Greetings from California. Exactly. Exactly. And as I was going to say, Lawanda, is that, son or no son, you don't condone that kind of behavior. You can still love them, but you don't condone that behavior. And five, which predicates part of the RICO charge. Well, that's just it. The predicates are they're portions of actual charges. Let's just use the arson charge as an example. There's a there's an attempt of arson, and then there's the actual arson. They removed the attempted charges. Those were the predicate charges. Those are the ingredients, so to speak, of the actual charges. So when people say that they removed charges, they did, but technically they did, but these were not uh, charges that are significant in that they removed an arson charge or they removed a ex trafficking charge. That's not what it was. It was the predicated charges that were attached to those other charges. Absolutely, Barbara. They minimum 15 years on just one charge, let alone four. And that judge don't like him. He really don't. He don't like him at all, from what I understand. I've been watching it all day. I've been watching Tisa Tales. I've been watching Ticket TV. I like Ticket TV because he breaks down the law. And, that law is what you really have. You can't operate on feelings. You have to operate on facts and you have to operate on the law. So, yeah, it's more than a notion. But what I would like to do, excuse me, what I would like to do is have a panel tonight. Right, he doesn't, Tracy, but he is fair. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you know what, Barbara? I like the news. However, there's something about watching these content creators really dig deep and explain these things. Even Law and Crime and those other uh, court TV type sites, they dig deep, very deep into the law itself. And it makes it a little bit easier to understand than just to watch a 15 segment portion of the news. You know what I'm saying? Hi, Red Clay. Hi, Really Dope. Oh, you know what, Faith? If we was in, that's the thing about this country. They're going to look out for the feds first. Colleen said, Auntie, is there still issues about some of these other celebrities that might be involved? Possibly. From what I understand, this is just a segment of something even bigger. And if you think about it, look at Harvey Weinstein. He's still in prison fighting. And see this hung jury thing that people are talking about? A hung jury is not going to get him out of jail. And Camille, Trump is never going to pardon Diddy. Reason being is because Busby, that attorney that took on 120 cases against Diddy, he is one of Trump's major contributors. There's no way. That would be political suicide. Suicide, say sisu. I can't say the word on YouTube. I almost said it. But that would be a big no-no on the president's political career. He did that. So, hello, Dawn Beard. How are you? Hi, Desire and Fire. How's it going? So, there's a lot of information out there, but you really have to just sit down and, yes, Retreada, Tony Busby. You have to sit down and really decipher through a lot of intricate It's like a weave, like a blanket, and it's woven. There's so many different things to consider in the law. This case really taught me quite a bit. Well, the feds may have allowed him, but we don't know that to be true. I know that there were officers, it allegedly there were police officers in his pocket, but we don't know for sure. There's no hardcore evidence that states that the feds were allowing him to do anything. That's a lot of speculation, and when you're dealing with the law, you can't involve speculation. So you got to go according to what the facts say, what the evidence says. And there is no evidence. We don't know that to be true, Faith. We don't. The government knew his involvement in Biggie, Tupac, and all those people. We don't know that to be true. That's, as far as we know, that's just talk on the internet. There's no documentation in court records that says that he was involved. There's a lot of interviews out there, but whether or not the interviews, whether they're true or not, there's no court documentation. Who is this coming to my house? Oh, nobody. Uh-oh. TT says a judge dismisses JC's extortion defamation lawsuit against Tony Busby. Wow. Wow. Absolutely. Yeah, if you sit down and listen to this case in particular, because it spanned 3 decades of time. It teaches you so much. Desire and Fire said even if he's not found guilty on the RICO, the feds is just going to run it all back. More charges. Also, the witnesses that were conspicuous, they're going to have to testify all over again. Absolutely. If they get a hung jury, all they're going to do is run it back. He's going to have to run back to his cell and wait another year and a half or so before they get a new trial. And that gives the prosecution that much more time to build an even stronger case than this one. This one was very, very strong. Yeah, LaWanda. I don't have cameras out there. Well, I do have that Ring camera, but yeah, I'm good. But yeah, if they had a hung jury, that wouldn't be very good for him. If they have a mistrial, that would not be very good for him. Either way it goes, he's going back to his cell because they've already got at least, I mean, all they need is one charge. All they need is one charge, and that's a 20 year minimum. And if they get a hung jury, that's not good for him. All that does is keep his money alive. And what happens if his money is alive and he has to fight still for another year and a half? Those attorneys are the only ones that's going to benefit because they're going to get paid. They would love to see a mistrial or a hung jury. They would love to see that. But Diddy would have to run back and get rid of some of those attorneys. You know what I'm saying? He would have to get rid of some of those attorneys because there's no way he can afford to continue paying for those attorneys at this point in time. That many attorneys. You're absolutely right, Barbara. His money is going to get eaten up. Either way it go. Yes. So I figure, okay, since we are talking about it, I'm going to put the link in the chat because everyone has something to say. And I think it's very valid points that should be brought to the forefront. I can't keep up with every single solitary question or statement. So let me get a few people to come up and we can have a discussion about this. I don't feel like sitting up here talking. We need some other people to get up here and talk too. So we're going to have a panel discussion tonight about this the situation that we're looking at right now, cuz I presume I'm willing to bet that they will come up with a verdict by tomorrow. Number one, because uh, I understand, I believe courts closed on Thursday, and Friday, of course, is a holiday. And these people want to get home and enjoy their holiday on Friday. Um, that's just the way it is. Hey, let's go, slots. What's up? What's up? What's up? Yes, sirree. So, all right, Charles. How you doing, brother dear?
What's up?
How you doing? You
I'm
been
good.
keeping track of the verdict today?
All
The
day.
deliberations and stuff. It's been interesting, hasn't it?
Yeah, pretty interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, we just waiting on it.
Yeah,
We
they're
just
not gonna
waiting
try
on
him
it.
on that. Even if they get a hung jury on a mistrial on the RICO, they're not gonna try him again on that.
Well, what that does is it just sends him back. It sends him back to jail.
Yeah,
And
that's when they're not gonna retry him because for one, he gonna get enough time. They're gonna be satisfied with it. Two, it's gonna cost the government too much money to retry him.
true, but now also remember he got a lot of money in that bank too, and in property, and that's what they want. That's why they want this RICO. They want this
But
RICO bad.
yeah, but they can't get it. It's not a people gotta understand that's not a RICO what he done. At all. RICO was made for gangsters and mobsters.
But
They
this
just
was
doing
an
it. No,
organization. It
no,
wasn't
no,
just
no, no.
no Charles.
Let me explain RICO
I
to
don't
you.
agree.
Let me explain RICO to you. RICO was formed for mobsters and gangsters, for people that extort people. That he had a legitimate business. Y'all got to understand. I mean, I'm
So
not
did the
riding with
mob.
him.
So did the mob. They had legitimate
I'm not
businesses
riding
too.
with him. But that's not a RICO because I'm gonna tell you something. If they found him guilty on all them other charges, right? Why are they stuck on the RICO? Because all them charges fall under a RICO.
The money.
Every
The money,
yeah,
Charles.
that's not a
That's what it's about. The RICO.
yeah, they
It's
no, they
about the
trying
money.
yeah, because two out of them five charges that they found that they got a verdict for, they fall under the RICO. Every
True,
last
but
one of them, every last one of them charges fall under RICO. So why are
absolutely.
they having such a problem with the RICO?
The
I don't
thing
get that.
about
That
the
don't make sense.
RICO, the thing about the RICO is that the jury has to agree on at least two of the same the whole jury has to agree on at least two of those whatever charges
But
were they
yeah, and I'm quite
only
sure they
two.
did that.
And other people,
They
they're
probably
staggering.
okay.
They're staggering. Some agree that this person is guilty of charges 1 and 3, for instance. Another person believes that uh, he's guilty of charges 3 and 5. Um,
No. They gotta be all of them gotta be in
they
agreement on all
That's
them
right.
charges.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly
Right.
what I'm saying. They have they don't have to necessarily agree on every single charge, but they do have to agree on at least two as a group. In
And
other
I'm quite
words,
sure
all 12 people, if if they all come to the conclusion that he's guilty of charges number 1 and 6, they've got their RICO. But that's where the problem is laying, is because the 12 jurors
So
cannot come to terms with who agrees with what charges. You see what I'm saying?
so in other words, that's good in his favor. If they can't, if all of them gotta have just two, so evidently they don't have two.
That's the point. They're deliberating over the RICO. They've already
Exactly.
decided about 2, 3, 4, and 5.
I
They've
understand
already
that. But
decided. But the RICO is the one. See, that's the one, that's the most important one to the government, because the government wants all his assets.
right.
That's what it
But
all
you
boils
just
down
said,
to.
okay, if I'm not mistaken, you just said they gotta have two predicate acts, right?
Well, now remember, they got rid of the predicate acts. They got rid of what, 5 predicate
Yeah,
acts,
them,
because they were
yeah,
still
yeah.
tied. They were tied into actual crimes. So,
Right,
for
right.
instance, the
Yeah, them,
arson one had a predicate act of
yeah,
attempted arson. They got rid of
yeah,
the attempted part.
yeah. But
Okay.
they would have found him not guilty on them anyway, because they couldn't prove that. They couldn't prove that he did
Well,
that. They
actually,
could
if people did it on his behalf, that's RICO right there. If his
well, they got
goons,
rid of him. But what I'm
if that
what I don't
goon, if
understand.
their goons did it, then they did it on his at his behalf, on his behalf. According to testimony, that's what the case was.
But don't you think that if the government knew that, they would never got rid of them predicate acts?
Not necessarily, because they were, from what I understand, I believe they're attached to the state. These are not federal predicate acts. They're state predicate acts.
Well, the state, all that state stuff is gone. They can't bring that's gone.
That's my point.
Right.
This was state stuff. This was state. But you know what? Hold on just a second. Skidlanta, you've been covering this a lot. I'm going to put my link in the chat. I want you to come up and give your take as well. Okay? Because this is going to be a panel.
What
Anybody
I
else that
think,
wants to come up as well. Oh, go ahead, Charles.
what I think they found him guilty on is, I'm gonna tell you something. They got him on the Cassie thing. They got him on the Cassie prostitution when he came
Mhm.
back from Paris and made her do that. I think they found him not guilty on that other lady. They found, I guarantee
Understood. You
they
know
found
what?
him not guilty. I think
I'm
they found him
hearing the
not guilty on
opposite.
her.
Yeah, I'm hearing the opposite on that case.
No, I think because I don't think because she because
Did
I
you
was
watch
just
Ticket
watching.
today? Did
I
you
don't
get to
I
watch?
can't stand Ticket. No,
Oh,
I
you
can't
don't
stand
like
him.
Ticket. One thing I like
No.
about Ticket, though, he does break the law down.
Yeah, but his
His
attitude,
delivery,
there's
yeah.
no need for that. There's no need for that.
Yes.
There's no need for that at all.
I
There's a way that you
understand.
can cover. Yeah, I can't
Actually,
stand
you're
him.
right. You're right.
Yeah, that's terrible. He's
Hey,
terrible.
sweetheart. Hi, Tamara. How are you?
How you doing?
Good.
Yeah, let me listen
Good.
to her.
Yes. Tamara, you guys, first of all, let me introduce you. Skitlanta Commentary. This is my girl, Tamara, and she's got a wonderful channel. If you can you drop your link in the chat so people can go and follow your channel if you get a chance? I mean, you don't have to do it at this precise moment, but I'm just saying, before you leave, drop your link in the chat so everybody can go check you out. But what do you think about this deliberation
I got
today?
a little bit of a feedback. I'm not really sure what's going on.
Okay, okay, if you go turn your YouTube volume down, because now you're listening in through StreamYard. If you go in and turn down your volume in YouTube, you should be able to hear through StreamYard.
Okay, hold on. Okay. You hear me now?
Yes.
Okay.
Can you hear
Uh,
me?
I hear you fine. I just didn't know
Okay.
whether or not you heard me or not. Okay,
Oh
so that's
yeah.
what's going on. Now I know because I be on other people's lives too, and I be like, I can't feedback. I don't know what's going on. So thank you so much for that. Okay, so my take on the Diddy trial. Okay, I kind of jumped in on here where y'all was talking about the charges. Okay, so they basically came to a verdict, agreement, a unanimous agreement on charges 2 through 5. Okay,
Yes.
so that means now what I'm getting ready to say, I can't 1000% say this is fact, but
Mm-hmm.
looking at the evidence and everything that is presented and how his attorney is acting and the questions that were asked of the judge, but the defense do not want the jury to hear. It can only mean one thing and one thing only. And this is what it is, that the charges that he was being charged for RICO on charges 2 and 5, they all are predicate crimes listed up on federal charges. He has been found
Exactly.
guilty. Okay. Now,
Mm-hmm.
the reason I say
I
that
don't think so.
is because if he wasn't found guilty on charges 2 and 5, there wouldn't even be a deliberation with number one. Number
Mm-hmm.
one is about racketeering. Charge number one only means they couldn't really convince one or two jurors, and I'm really only thinking it's one or two, and I'm more so leaning on one at this
No,
point.
it's more than one. They already
Um,
said it.
well, what they said was that there was a divide, but remember, jury
No.
25, he right up front, jury 25 was combative with the other jurors. So we
Mm-hmm. Right.
already know it's a possibility that jury 25 is one of the ones that they're talking about. Okay. But
Mm-hmm.
there's also a jury by the jury number 5. He is a young black male
Mm-hmm.
who I honestly do not think he agrees with that Diddy did anything as far as RICO is concerned. So,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason why I say I think now is only one juror that's probably because they deliberated all this before the end of the day, and I'm leaning towards, and I'm going to explain why I think they might have flipped juror number 25. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
To now he could see it because of
Uh-huh.
the questions that they asked. Remember, they were handing over notes to the judge to get first they handed the jury, the judge a note to say that they were having a problem with juror 25.
Mm-hmm.
Once the judge say I can't really elaborate on it, the law is the law, and they cleared it up whether or not it was based on his feeling or whether it was based on his lack of understanding.
Correct.
Um, juror number 25. He is college educated scientist. This
Yes.
man is smart. There is no
Microbiology.
right. There is
Mm-hmm.
no issue with him when it comes to understanding. He knows exactly
Mm-hmm.
what RICO is.
Mm-hmm.
But his issue was based off of the fact, just like I'm thinking jury 5 is saying, he don't feel there is a racketeering, meaning there was no organized crime happening within the crimes that were committed. And that's because they're thinking nobody else is being charged with
Right.
RICO other than Diddy. Now, here's the
Exactly.
thing. The judge told them, remember, the judge said in his instructions, no matter if take out the fact that people that were mentioned in the lawsuit was not called to the stand
Correct.
to give their testimony, but both sides had equal opportunity to talk to all the witnesses, that all the people mentioned in the case.
Correct.
That means they had an opportunity, both the prosecution and the defense had an opportunity to call KK. They had an opportunity to call D-Rock. They had an opportunity to call any worker, the accountant, and everything. They had an opportunity, and both sides failed to call the witness. Why?
Correct.
All right. Can I? Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Go ahead. Huh?
Go ahead. I'll wait till you finish.
Okay. And the reason being, now, my thing on the prosecution, I'm not really understanding if they had the opportunity to call KK, why they didn't. The only thing I could comprehend as to why they didn't, because they didn't want to give her the immunity. Because I honestly feel after they get this verdict, and I'm explaining to
They
you,
gonna go after some
they're
more.
going straight after KK.
That's
They're
right.
going after her as a co-conspirator.
That's
They're
right.
going after D-Rock. They're going after everybody that had any participation with what they did. And the reason
Exactly.
being because they gave them the opportunity
Mm-hmm.
to take the immunity. They did not. And
Mm-hmm.
remember, before the case ever got started,
Mm-hmm.
the Fed said, if you do not come now, we will not accept anything later.
That's right.
So if you are not going to help us prove our case, then that's it. That's
Mm-hmm.
where the line was drawn at. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why that's the only reason I can fathom as to why the prosecution did not call KK. They're going after
Exactly.
her on their own separate case. Now,
And just to add to that,
mhm.
the reason that the defense didn't bring any witnesses is because they didn't want those witnesses under cross-examination by prosecution.
Yeah, but this is the thing. That is true, but it's a strategy. That's all
Mm-hmm.
it is. It's a
Yeah.
strategy.
Yeah.
Okay, so their strategy was instead of remember before I say this, remember Suge Knight told him, "You better take that stand and say
Yep.
something for yourself,"
Yep.
because Suge Knight. When I first did the thing, I said, "Now I wouldn't listen to it. Like Suge Knight in prison, but Suge Knight know because he is there, so he knows how this works."
Mm-hmm.
Regardless of the fact he was going to jail either way.
Either
But
way.
it was better for him to take that stand and share his side of the story so that way people can have an image in their head. And what would have happened possibly is he could have convinced enough of those juries
Mm-hmm.
to hang that jury completely.
Right. Right.
But now, since he failed to do so, he has allowed the prosecution to seal the deal. Okay.
Yep.
This is where his defense team failed him. I always said he had one more Hail Mary left. If he could
Yes.
not get a mistrial, and this is partially why I feel they did the closing statement the way they did it, because it left them open for P. Diddy, if he get convicted, to now come back and say, my attorneys did not properly represent me in my case at the end. They did not plead. He can't say he didn't have an opportunity to take a stand because he said
Right.
himself, I was not, nobody controlled me. Nobody made me say no. I don't want to do it. So he don't have a leg to stand on that note. But he does have a leg to stand on the way they closed that closing
Right.
statement out. They did not represent that man. They literally, I think he's guilty, but they literally left him open to
Left
be
him
swept up
open.
the river. I'm like, what in the world? Where everybody was clapping in the overflow room. For those that do not understand the law, and by the way, I studied law, so that's why I'm very familiar with a lot of it.
I know.
For those that do not understand law, it looked like it was a wit. It was a performance. It was great, but really it was a strategy. It was a strategy that they took and they risked his freedom. And so they left it open for one final Hail Mary in the event that he was convicted and charged guilty, to say, based off of their incompetence of fully representing him in the end, that he feels he is now open for an appeal. Okay. And that if he could get it fast enough, they may, and what the appeal is on charge number 1, not the other 4. It's just on charge number 1. He could try to, get the appeal on the other charges, but he is dead to rights when it comes to the other charges. There is no win. There is no win for that. Okay.
Right.
But what if he does an appeal on charge number 1 and he get it in time before they can, in the event there's a hung jury, and I'm getting ready to explain this real quick. In the event there's a hung jury on charge number 1, there is a thing called a partial verdict. The judge gave him an option. Remember, you can get a defendant can get a plea deal right up until the end. The judge offered him he offered him something to help him out. He said, "Do you want me to just call them in and say we could do a partial verdict? So whatever you say for charges 2 through 5, we'll go through with it. And because you're hung on 1, we can leave it up to the feds whether or not they want to retry you or not." Right? But his attorney said, "Oh no, no, we don't want that. We don't want that.
Yeah.
We want them to stay in just a little bit longer." The reason why they want him to stay in there a little bit longer, because they're thinking maybe just like jury 25, they could possibly convince more people that because they don't understand RICO, that they did not prove their case, and then they could possibly flip them. But here's where they're messing up at. Once you tell the judge a verdict has been reached, you cannot go back.
Can't change nothing.
You cannot change it. You cannot go back and say, "Oh, we changed our verdict," and this. No, sirree. And if they find out you did that, now you facing charges.
That's right.
So it is sealed. This is done. It's over and done with. The reason I say I know this is what's happening, because if you listen to the people that are at the courthouse, they're all telling you how he's acting. They said they was bringing all the family members in.
Right.
P. Diddy had his hand like this, and he was shaking his hand because he know he's gone. He knows. Okay? His attorneys done told him, "Look, man, this is it. We don't need all we can do for you. Ain't no more we can do for you. This is it." And the judge even offered him something to help him, because here's the thing: if they can get an appeal. They can get an appeal on their first charge of RICO, or if the feds decide not to take it, this is what happens to P. Diddy. It really leaves him an option of a chance of redemption. He's now no longer able to get life. Right? Not technical, not the real life, not life where they say you have life with no eligibility of parole. Okay. But what he can get is a judge can say, based off of 2 through 5, we're gonna make these years that you serve in prison up to a life sentence. Okay,
40-something odd years.
You can say that. But what the Hail Mary for him on that end is that they will not be able to, on charges 2 through 5, they leave an open window that he can, if he's a good prisoner and he don't cause no problems, he can get off on good behavior, because he can be eligible for parole in a few years. He could
in federal.
Let me get in there.
Even in federal.
No. He can't get off on no good behavior. You got to do 85. No. Listen to me. I've been in the feds. You do 85% of your time.
But the other 15%, that's what I'm telling you. Go ahead.
Yeah, let me finish. Okay, on another thing. It was more than one person that's holding that up. I listened to Tisha Tell. I listened to they was in the courtroom, and infamous Sylvia. It's not only 25. It's another one. It's multiple people in there that's going against that.
Possibly too.
Okay, it is for a fact. Okay, another thing, this RICO. Okay, I know 2 guys, right, that got podcasters. His podcast is DC Blacks. His name is Eon. And the other one is Mecca Audio, Unique. They've been to prison. Unique was on a RICO. He did 26 years. He fought a RICO. There's no way in HELL that one man can be charged of a RICO. It's got to be multiple of people.
And you're correct. I'm not arguing. You are absolutely correct.
They can charge. Let me finish. I'll let you talk.
Go ahead.
Okay. They're going to indict. If the prosecutor's not satisfied with some stuff, they're going to definitely indict D-Rock. They're going to definitely the other KK. But right now, I don't think this is a RICO. I mean, I hope he go to jail. Let me finish. It's not a RICO. You know, he should be put away. Ain't no doubt about it. No doubt about it. But I listen to people, these prison podcasts, that people have fought RICOs. I gave you the 2 podcasts, DC Blacks and Unique Mecca Audio. And they know what they talking about because they done fought them and they done got out of jail.
What was the
by fighting the RICO.
What was the criteria that they fought, though? That there was nobody else under the RICO
they got
with them?
No, they was on the real RICO. They had people, they was convicted of a real RICO, not no one person.
But this isn't just one
Just
person.
not,
This
it's not
It
one
is.
person.
this isn't
Only thinking this
over.
is one person. Who else is in the
No,
RICO?
he's just the
Mr.
first of
Charles,
many. He's the
respectfully,
first of
it's not. That's
many.
why I said I agree with you. I
Wait a
completely
minute.
agree
No,
with what
Auntie
you said.
Nikki said it wasn't one person. Who else they got up there with him?
He's got other
Nobody.
Nobody is up.
co-conspirators.
His
They're not up there
co-conspirator.
with them, but his
Yes,
Yeah, but
co-conspirators
they're not being charged right now. They haven't
they
even been
are
right
called.
now
right
being the
now,
operative
right
word.
Yeah,
now,
but y'all
and
hold on,
that's
hold on. Y'all gotta understand. Y'all gotta understand. This trial is almost over. Now we talking about co-conspirators on a RICO. They haven't brought them people up, they name up just during the trial.
They were given an
Just
opportunity to testify and they turned down the immunity. So they left themselves wide open for
right.
yeah,
future,
after the trial. After the trial.
And that's
which
what the
is
whole
part of the
issue is,
RICO.
Charles. And that's what the whole issue
Yeah.
is. The whole issue
Yeah.
is
Okay,
those
okay.
two.
They gonna be in a separate RICO. They not gonna be tied in with Diddy. Diddy's trial is gonna be over unless
Actually,
they re,
no.
unless they re, unless they
Okay.
retry him.
Let, let's
Unless they
let's
retry him for the RICO.
let's look at your
Otherwise, go ahead, go ahead.
let's look at your point about why the RICO was established. It was established for the mob. Okay. Not every co-conspirator in mob cases went on trial simultaneously. They were scattered about, but they fell under the same umbrella because they worked for the same head. You know what I'm saying? So just because they're not on trial right now does not mean that they don't fall under the RICO Act under Diddy. They will inevitably be charged and
Okay,
convicted
let me ask you this. Let me ask you this, just for the sake of saying.
because Cassie was a
Okay, wait a
co-conspirator. She
minute.
took
Just
an
for the sake,
immunity.
God, just for the sake of saying. What if they come back and it be a hung jury mistrial on the RICO, and the prosecutors don't want to do it again? So what happened to D-Rock and the KK? They still bring them up?
Yes, they
That's
can.
what I'm
They,
telling you. That's what I'm
they,
trying.
they
That's what I'm
can.
trying to tell
However,
you.
it's not going to be a strong case, though. And I'm going to tell
Right.
you this: they can still go
Yeah.
after them. It's not going to be a strong case.
That's my point. That's my
Because
point. If they don't find them,
they can't get Diddy, who is the head, then they definitely can't get his other people.
right?
But
Okay.
the thing is, what I'm trying to explain to you, that's the whole issue, Mr. Charles. That's why I said respectfully, I agree with what you're saying. I'm not arguing with what you're saying. You're absolutely right. A RICO cannot be done with one person. It
Correct.
takes multiple people. And they proved that multiple people were involved. They proved KK was involved. They proved D-Rock was involved. They proved the accountant from TriStar was involved. They proved that his assistants were involved. There's no doubt that there was other people involved other than P. Diddy right now. The reason they're choosing not to try them in this trial with him because they want each one of them separately. They want it separate, but they're going for the head first. The thing is, you ask, could they be charged? They can be charged, but if they can't get a conviction on RICO with Diddy, far as racketeering, when I say that's why I keep splitting it up. I'm not saying they don't have RICO because they have RICO. They have RICO on predicated crimes from 2 through 5. They have those. Okay. What they don't have is racketeering. Racketeering means and let me explain RICO for those that don't understand RICO, because this is where the whole split is. Okay. Mm-hmm. RICO is where you have a organization, regardless if the organization was formed for illegal activities or not. It is an organization that is established, and within the organization, they're doing illegal crimes in an organized fashion. Okay. Mm-hmm. So that is RICO. And this is the whole problem. A lot of people do not understand what RICO is. They think just like you, RICO has to be a bunch of illegal stuff. It has to be an illegal business. He got a legit business. He got Comb Enterprise and all that. Mm-hmm. Is legitimate. That's not illegal. It doesn't matter if it's illegal or not. It just has to be that he's using the business to do illegal stuff. Mm-hmm. That's all it has to be. Right?
And
RICO,
Tamara, isn't it also true that they have to be able to prove at least two instances of illegal activity within a 10-year span
Correct. And let me
under that?
explain that. Let
Okay.
me explain it. You're right. They do have to prove two predicated crimes within a 10-year period. But the crimes does not have to happen for 10 years. It doesn't. It just have to happen one time. That's it. That's
Right.
where a lot of people are so confused. They think that
Mm-hmm.
it has to be something that got to keep going and going and going. Absolutely not. All they got to do is prove two separate crimes happen one time within a 10-year period. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
that has been proven by convicting him for charges 2 through 5, because
Correct.
those are the predicated crimes, right?
Good question. Let me ask you a question.
Sir?
Okay, two predicate crimes that can be covered under the RICO, right? That's what y'all
Yes.
saying, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, he gonna get charged. I'm just going out there. He's going to get charged for two predicate crimes, no doubt.
But he's already been
So,
charged before, probably.
well, for I think he's
Two,
gonna get charged
three,
with 2 or
4, and
3.
5.
2,
Yeah,
3, 4, and 5. He done been charged
yeah,
before.
but I don't think he'll get charged with all of them.
But they said it
But
was unanimous. So either they're unanimous to say he's innocent, or they're unanimous to say he's guilty. But there's no
middle.
there's no middle ground.
Middle.
Either they charged him for all 4 because they said it was
Or found him
unanimous.
guilty.
Unanimous mean we all agree.
okay, so let me ask this last question.
Right.
So he's unanimous on all 4 of them. Why
Yes.
are they having such a problem with the RICO?
Because they
Because
don't
of them 2
understand.
people?
Right. Go
Because
ahead.
of them 2 people?
No. Yeah, because of those 2 people. Because of those 2 people, which I really do feel like one got flipped. I know what you're saying, but I really do feel like 25 got flipped, only because of the way everything is going on now. And I can continue to explain that as to why I say that. But let's just assume it's 2 people for the sake of argument. Just because those 2 people cannot get it in their head what RICO is, those 2 people represent the court of public opinion. And if you look
Right.
at the court of public opinion, half of the people say he's innocent and he ain't did no RICO, and the other half says he's guilty and send him to jail. But the
Mhm.
fact is that all charges were unanimously proven. The only thing that wasn't proven was the organized crime, and that's because they don't understand how organized crime works. They're thinking because these people are not sitting next to him that they only charging him, and it's unfair to charge this one man when other people help him do it. But they can't see the fact that they're coming after them later. They're going to go
Yes.
after them. But
Let me
right
ask you another
now,
question.
Mhm.
Let me ask you another question.
Yes, sir.
We started off saying that these guys, the number 25 was brilliant, a scientist. Why wouldn't he understand RICO?
Just like you don't understand RICO because you don't see
Yeah,
somebody.
but still.
I mean,
And then the judge sent them back there. He sent a note back there when they went back there telling them,
And said,
don't
figure it
let
out.
nobody, he said, don't let nobody sway you. Don't let them, gang up on you just to change your mind.
right. And see, this
He
where
just gonna let out there.
right.
Mhm.
And that's where I personally feel that's where he flipped. Because here's the thing: when 25 before 20, they sent that note to the judge. That the judge made it clear to 25 at that point. He said the law is the law, and the law is not going to change based off of how you feel. So if you don't understand, let me know that you don't understand the law. But if you understand, put your feelings to the side and then
Right.
just do what the law says. The
You
fact
think,
that
wait a minute, hold up. What makes you think they doing that though? You don't know that. They may have no. You saying they basing this on their feelings. It might not be that.
sir.
It might not be that. They human beings. Why can't the other ones? Okay, let me ask you this. Why can't the other 10 feel that way?
Why? Because back to what I said before, if the other 10 felt that he was innocent, I'm playing devil advocate. I'm gonna play both sides real quick. If 2 people said that he was guilty or innocent, and 10 people said that he was guilty, then it really wouldn't even be an issue. It would just be a hung jury because the majority will pull on the guilty side. The reason being that there is an issue with this supposed thing is because they just simply can't agree with the organized crime. And the reason I
Right.
say that is because if they unanimously agree on 2 through 5, right?
Right. Right.
Think about this. If they unanimously agree, let's just put this in our head real quick. If I agree with charges 2 through 5, which are the predicated acts, right? And we're all saying we all agree on the predicated acts, but we don't agree on number 1, then if 2 through 5 was not guilty, you don't even stand a chance on number 1. Then it will automatically just be not
Yeah,
guilty.
it would be a moot point.
It will be a move. Exactly. There's no issue with
But
number 1 because there's no
yeah, but
reason to question number 1.
right. But that happens all the time in court cases. That all of them don't agree on certain stuff.
Right. You're
It
right.
happens all the time.
You're right. But the majority of them are not the
But
majority.
hold on, let me say this,
Hold
Rachel.
up.
Let me clear this.
Okay.
I'm not pro Diddy at all. I'm
Mhm.
just looking at what it is and the information I get from people that experience this.
Yes, sir.
He should go to jail. Definitely. Ain't no doubt about it. I'm not pro Diddy, but I listen to people that have experience and been to jail and saying that this is not a RICO case at all. And they didn't been through it.
And that's because a
Go
lot of
ahead.
people, unfortunately, sir, and I'm going to put it, that's because a lot of people are putting feelings into it more so than anything. And the
No,
main
no, no, no,
feeling,
no, no, no,
hold
no.
on,
Just
hold
from,
on.
just
Can
from
I explain?
experience.
Can I explain something?
Yeah.
And the main feeling is because everybody is looking on the fact that there's only one person. If you really ask everybody what is their issue with RICO is, I can almost guarantee you all of them will say, how are they charging him RICO and he's the only one up there? I can guarantee you that's what they're saying. Because literally out of every podcast I ever been on, every live I ever went to, and I've even the ones you called off, I done been to all theirs. They're all asking the same question: how could this be RICO if he's the only one? They don't need. There's no RICO. They're not showing RICO. They're not saying he's not guilty. They're saying exactly what you're saying. I believe he's a bad man. He's probably need to do some time for what he did. They're all
A lot
saying
of times.
right. Everybody is in agreement. And so if you look at that, that's why I said I can't say with 1000% certainty, but if I'm just looking at the evidence and the facts of how they presented themselves, then I can only assume that they're all being hung up because they don't see where the RICO is because he's the only one sitting there. Because that's what everybody says, including you.
I think if they understood
Right.
that those other co-conspirators are on the line, they would understand that this is in fact a RICO. He's just the first of many. He's
Right.
just the head, and the rest are about to fall in line.
Exactly.
It's not a, I'm sorry. It's not a case of they all have to be tried at the same time, like you see in the movies, like we did in The Godfather. I think there was one Godfather where they had Michael Corleone up there by himself. Well, there was a whole line of people under him facing those same charges, but the RICO wasn't established until much later. Okay, in terms of why they established RICO in the first place. But the way it stands now, see, they're just waiting for this part to get over with because it's not over.
Right.
This is by far not over.
Not at all.
Let me go to the law books. I'm gonna go to law books and look up RICO and get my own definition of it. I'm dropping down. Let me go look.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Charles. No disrespect, and I wasn't trying to talk over you anything.
This is what I wanted. I
just
wanted
wanted to
a
see
healthy
what was going on.
debate because this is what's necessary for people to get an idea of what this is really all about. Because, like you said, there's a lot of people that just can't place in their brain
Right.
how this can be a RICO when there's just one man up there. Well, this is
Correct.
just the first of many. If they looked at it like that, it would be more understandable to accept as a RICO because
Correct.
he had to have help to do a lot of the things that he did. He had to have help in order to set what's his name, Cuddy's
Kid
vehicle
Cudi
on fire.
Yeah, we all know he did. Everybody knows that's
You know,
everybody
he
knows
had
ordinary people to do that.
he had
He
help
do
with
it, but
that.
yeah, he told him.
D-Rock sat there and let him do what he did to Cassie. You know, she testified on that fact. Cassie is a co-conspirator as well.
Correct.
She played a big role in the freak offs,
Really,
distributing
really, to be honest with you, Auntie Mickey, everybody that you're seeing as a witness for the state are all co-conspirators.
all
Every last one of
co-conspirators.
them,
They
except for
all
Kid
flipped.
Cudi. Kid
Yes,
Cudi was not.
right,
The federal agents was not. The
correct,
experts were not. But everybody
correct.
that had close connection to P Diddy, they all
Yes.
were co-conspirators.
What's her
The only,
name?
yeah,
What's that girl's name?
Jane or Mia. Oh, and Mia. Mia wasn't. Mia wasn't.
What's that girl's
She
name?
wasn't a co-conspirator.
Started with a C.
Capricorn Clark.
Capricorn
Yeah,
Clark.
she's definitely a co-conspirator.
Absolutely.
She's definitely a co-conspirator. She's part of it. She's just as guilty as he is, and I agree with anybody that said that they all need to be charged. But the fact of the matter is, they got immunity, and the only way the feds could have proved their case is with their testimony. And without their
Exactly.
testimony, they wouldn't have been able to prove any of this. So therefore, they got
Exactly.
immunity. So it wouldn't have been wise for any one of them to jump on that stand and lie, because the minute they got caught up in a lie, they were going to do some
be a
federal
wrap.
time. They're going
right.
to prison themselves.
That's
So
right.
it was better for them to say, I don't know, or let me get
I don't
myself together real
recall.
quick because I ain't going to prison. It makes absolutely no sense.
Yep.
On top of that, Cassie was already paid. Jane is not, she's not suing him because she loves him to death. Okay.
Right.
She's just crazy about this man for whatever reason or another. And the other, it was another one that also settled out of court inside mediation. Mia, I think it was Mia. She settled in mediation. Nobody serves any purpose for this whatsoever, because they already been paid off. Everybody already got their money. So, and that's why they do civil cases before they do criminal. So a lot of people have in their mind, they'd be like, well, if they really got a case, then why not just take it straight to the thing? Well, the reason being, because once the feds get involved, they ain't gonna have no money to get. So they got to get their money first. And then once I get my money, then I can go do the crime. Because once the feds get involved, baby,
it's a wrap.
Everything. So
and that's why RICO is so important to them.
Once And another thing I wanted to kind of let y'all, your audience know, in today's back and forth with the jury notes and everything, you notice one thing is a very key component as to the is guilty. You know why? Because not one time did the prosecution say anything about the notes. They had nothing to say. They know they won. Yeah. They know he's going to prison. It was only the defense that was doing the talking. And that's because they're trying to leave a loophole for their client so that he can come back on an appeal, or he can possibly get charged, number one, kicked out altogether, because the judge wanted to bring them in so he could explain to them what RICO meant. But the defense knew if those people would have came back into that courthouse and learned what RICO really was, it would have been unanimous guilty. That would have been it. So at this point, you know, like I said, it's a win-win for everybody when you look at it, I guess, other than Diddy. It's a win for the feds because he's going to prison. It's a win for the defense because he's not facing life. And it's a win for society because he's not out there. Okay.
Right.
It's a loss for everybody else involved because now y'all finna get in trouble. They're going after his son. They're going after everybody involved. I mean, other celebrities. People was like, well, where are all the celebrities that they did all this stuff with? They all got their own cases. Fat Joe, he's in trouble now. Okay. So they now you're starting to hear. You're gonna start hearing a lot more because I know because I've been researching this, but they're getting ready to bring Jay-Z back into this with Rock Nation. He about to be in trouble again as well. Now, Kanye West, he got his own trial. So what they did was they went for everybody separate, so they can have a bigger impact. Because here's the thing, y'all, all of them had opportunity. It was all on top of the world. They could have made major changes, and they chose to do whatever. And now the man is coming for all their money. And that's just basically what it is. And it's sad because they was a representation of our culture, whether we're talking about Black America, Latino America, or whatever. They were a representation for us, and they made it. And now every last one of them are getting ready to get brought down.
Yeah.
So,
And that's really unfortunate too, because I'm sure that Black Americans are not the only ones doing these nefarious
right,
acts in the
right,
business. You know, I
exactly.
mean, it's where I keep saying, where's Ashton Kutcher? Where's Leonardo DiCaprio? Ellen DeGeneres, she bounced and went out of the country. There's
Yeah.
just so many that have, you know, disappeared to a certain degree.
And that's the part I can't stand. Even though
Hmm.
I'm all for the law, love the law and stuff like that, and I want justice to be served. But let's keep it 1,000. He ain't the
Hmm.
top. P Diddy was not
Oh
the main
no,
one. He got people over him that was doing the exact same thing, and all because of the
absolutely,
color of their skin, they not going down,
absolutely.
and
Well,
they
you
need
know
to
what
be in
I
prison right
said.
along with him.
You know what I said, and I've been saying this for weeks now. The only reason that Diddy went down the way he did is because he got reckless.
Right.
And when he got reckless, Clive Davis removed his hedge of protection.
Correct.
I
Diddy
believe that.
Diddy downfall came when he started talking against that liquor company. That's
Against
what
Ciroc.
if he
Yep.
would have kept his mouth shut, but it was this. It was all that had
Yeah.
messed up his mind because
Yep.
Diddy, even outside of the monster, evil person he is a brilliant businessman.
Very much
It
so.
was the fact that this man he had got himself hooked up on that stuff,
Uh-huh.
and he wasn't thinking right. Because if he
Hmm.
was thinking right, he would have kept that mouth shut, and he wouldn't
That
even
part.
first be in this to begin with. He would have just paid Cassie her little bit of money. All this
Yep.
stuff would have been brushed up under the
Yep.
table. Nobody would have got caught. The thing is, Diddy is associated with everybody in the industry, whether or not
Hmm.
they're in the music industry, whether or not they're in the entertainment, sports industry. He's connected to everybody on
Yes.
our culture, on our
Yes.
culture. Okay.
Yes.
He's connected to their culture too, but guess what? They're going to protect their culture.
Absolutely.
So that's why I said I love the law, and that's why I can't stand behind this food. But if I didn't care about the law, if I
Hmm.
can turn a blind eye to what the law is, then I would say let him out because
Hmm.
they ain't going to jail either. Okay, and
Right.
I'm just being real. It's just the fact that I have a passion and love for the law, so I
Hmm.
can't turn a
Hmm.
blind eye to what is being done, and nobody really should, because what if this was your daughter? What if this was your kids? And there's more victims. There's over 100 people in
Hmm.
addition to these people that y'all know about. It's over 100 people. There are
Yeah.
people who did interviews and was talking about this stuff 20 years ago, and
Yeah.
nobody took them serious.
Mm, mm, mm.
So justice is going to be served. It's just whether or not he's going to face life. But like I keep saying,
Right.
the judge have the discretion to make those charges feel like
Hmm.
life if he wanted to.
Yeah. 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 He can stack those years left and right
Right.
and say, have a good day. Hopefully. But yeah, there's a lot more coming down the pike.
Correct.
A lot more. And there's a lot of content creators that are looking at this as closure instead of stepping back and looking at the big picture. There's a lot more to report on
Oh,
when this is over. This is
definitely. And
going
I
to be
will be
going on for a
following right along.
long
But
time.
I hope, and I'm going to try to dabble in it on a little bit myself. I hope more content creators start talking about the other ones that are involved as well, and not just our people. Don't just
Right.
focus on our people because you want us
Exactly.
to make us look like we the evil ones. No,
Right.
y'all doing it too. And so
Hmm.
the more I find out about the ones who's doing it, the more I'm going to
Hmm.
report. Now,
But
how much you get
they
out there, I don't
conceal.
know.
They be concealing a lot of their
Right.
dirt though.
Right. That's why I say how much of it actually get out there, I'm not sure, because I know a
Exactly.
lot of my stuff probably don't push it because I'm pushing the truth versus all this buffoonery. I'm telling the truth. I'm
Right.
not sugarcoating it or whatever. I'm just going for the gusto and tell it like it is. Some people might like it. A lot of people probably don't like it. but
Yeah.
but it is what it
But
is. So
it
I
is
know
what
my
it
material
is.
probably won't get
Yeah.
out like that.
Yeah. But
But
yeah,
that's too
he's
good
going to
to be
do a
focusing on.
lot of time. He's going to do a lot of time. He's
Yeah.
55 years old.
And what they say, what they're saying is he got that stuff, and he on his way out anyway. So
H.
yeah,
I.
the big H. That's what they're
Mm.
saying. So
Ooh, wee. I heard that too. I was hoping that was just a rumor. I hope that's, I don't wish that on nobody.
Right.
But a lot of stuff was going on unprotected. And when you're dabbling in that type of lifestyle unprotected, you're playing a crap game.
Right.
And just because we don't hear about it out there that much anymore does not mean it doesn't exist. A
Correct.
lot of people forgot about COVID until they caught it again.
Right. Strand number 855 because they always coming up with a different strand. Yeah.
Exactly,
Right.
exactly. Well, I certainly appreciate your take on this because it was very educational. I would like to open the panel up to anyone else that might want to come up and give their take as well. Um, I'm gonna put the link in the chat. But this has been a very, very informative, and I appreciate you.
Oh, you're
I
welcome.
couldn't have explained it like that because
You're
you
welcome.
are well versed in what you do. Very well
Uh,
versed.
Yeah, and I understand where he's coming from. That's why I was trying to let him know. I'm not trying to disrespect you, Mr. Charles. I completely agree. And we're all, and really, if he really was paying attention, we're all saying the same thing. We are. It's
Exactly,
just that
exactly.
people's view on what RICO is and the fact that man standing on charge on
Mhm.
trial by himself, it ain't right. And I agree. I'm not even saying I don't agree with you. I agree with you. It should be more people.
Absolutely,
It should be every last one of
absolutely.
them that got immunity, but unfortunately, because of the immunity, they can't go after them for those particular things. But
Mhm.
if they find loopholes where they can go around stuff that wasn't talked about, guess what?
Uh-huh.
They too can go to prison.
Mhm.
So yeah.
Well, Charles has come back, so I think he might come back with some
Address
more
something. I gotta
information.
address something. I gotta address something in your chat.
Okay.
I gotta really address something in your chat. Faith was all you need. You don't know why I was in the feds. And I don't appreciate what you said in that chat.
Who?
You don't have a clue. You don't know me for real.
Oh, who's talking about it? Oh,
And I don't appreciate it. She put in there, I see why Mr. Charles was in the feds.
huh?
Mhm.
I never disrespected you. Bye.
Okay, Charles.
Sorry about that.
You're still free to sit up here, hon.
No, I ain't dealing with that. That's
Okay.
total disrespect. And if
Okay.
you don't,
Well,
I wouldn't even allow that in your chat. You don't
yeah.
tell me. I see
Who
why
who
I
was
was in the
that?
feds.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch who you were referring to.
It's faith is all you need. She don't
Oh,
have a clue. She have no clue of what I was in there for or nothing. That's
okay.
disrespectful.
Okay.
I'm
Well,
sorry about that.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Charles and Faith. I really wish you hadn't said that. I know you joke around a lot, but I really
No, that
wish
ain't
you
no
hadn't
joke
said
though.
that. That
Yeah.
wasn't cool. But again, we still family, and
If she
please,
want to address me, she address me.
okay. That's duly noted. Absolutely. So, yeah, let's go slots. I understand you're saying it was only a joke, but
No,
Charles,
that's not
I
no
mean,
joke.
let's go slots. That's not necessarily. Um, Everybody doesn't take everything as a joke, and
And
especially
then
when
she
it's
don't know what she
directed to
talking about.
them.
She don't even know the story.
Hmm. Well, I understand how you feel, Charles. I really do. I really, really do. And on my behalf, I apologize that I didn't see that, but um,
Yeah, that's
I
why I
don't.
want to make it clear. I ain't
Yeah,
saying nothing with Mr. Charles. I respect
I
him.
don't. I don't think Faith meant
Yeah.
anything, any malice in it. But again, we have to be mindful of whether something is a joke or not, because that can be a touchy subject on anybody. So, um, but again, I'm gonna put the link in the chat one more time in the event that anybody wants to come up and address the panel, or give your take on what's going on. And if not, we can end this live early because this was definitely a fruitful live stream, and that'll give me time to go pack so I can get up out of here.
Where you get ready to go?
Oh, I'm about to go to Vegas.
Oh,
just for a few
nice.
days, just for a few days. But yeah, it was supposed to be a family reunion that kind of fell apart at the last minute, and we already bought tickets to go, so figured, well, hey, we'll still go. So
Well,
make some time
well, you
out of
have
it.
a good time. Well, yeah, you definitely need to get off this line so that way you can get yourself together and get prepared. Miss
Oh, I'm
Auntie
good.
Nikki.
I got the rest of the night. Hi, DeAndre. I haven't seen you in so long.
All right. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and close out my end. I'll probably still be inside your chat though to
All
give you the
right,
opportunity
sweetheart.
to
Thank you
share people. But
so
thank you
much
for
for
having
your
me on here.
contribution. Thank you
Oh,
so much.
you're
And
welcome. You're welcome.
put your link in the chat, please.
Oh, okay, I
Please,
will.
so people can come and check you out, cuz this young lady is the bomb. She is the bomb for
Oh,
real.
thank
She
you.
makes complete sense. She breaks everything down in such a way that e- anybody can understand. So, I appreciate her so much.
Oh,
So,
that's so sweet. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
I be watching you. I be watching you. Man, when you was talking about DoorDash, I was like, "Uh-oh, here we go.
Yeah.
DoorDash better take several seats."
No, I had to back off on it. I mean, hopefully the woman make a change, but she just
I
don't seem
hope
like she's
so.
going
Wait,
to.
I'm dealing with something like that
Yeah.
myself. There's somebody that needs to make a change, and oh, everybody's after this chick, but I'm not
Yeah.
gonna go into it.
Yeah.
But we have those on here that they seem to think that they can say and do anything, and you ain't supposed to clap back. So
Right, right, right,
you
right.
know,
And well, that's a part. People like me for my information, but people don't like me for my mouth if I have
okay,
if I have to. But I
absolutely.
completely understand. I completely understand. But thank you
All
so much.
right,
And
sweetheart.
my channel is Skitlanta Commentary. I will put it in the link for y'all. Please go over and check me out if you would. And thank you so much, Auntie Nikki. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for coming, sweetheart.
Oh, you're welcome.
All right, hon. All right, you guys. Anybody else want to come up and say hello? Please do come up to the panel. Let me make sure okay. Okay. Oh, I'm going to put it in there one more time. It is so good to see some of my old friends in here. DeAndre Dobbs, the show. I have missed you immensely, sweetheart. Tracy, come on, baby. Let's not do that, okay? Let's not do that, sweetheart. I'd appreciate it if you don't. I will Leo the lion. This is going to be a well-deserved break. Okay. Yeah, I understand, Faith. But we just got to be a little bit more mindful. I know we joke around a lot, but some people take things a lot more serious than others, and I can't fault him for his feelings, you know. But I don't want anybody insulting anyone else here, um, because we all family, and families tend to sometimes they butt heads at times. So I mean that's understandable. Hey, Urban.
Hi, Auntie. Hi,
Hi,
chat. Hey.
sweetie.
Hi. Um, I might rub a couple of feathers real quick. I'm sorry. You already know how I am, Auntie. But if you don't mind,
Go right
please.
ahead, sweetheart.
Okay. Listen, we all have been getting along so lovely together. Whether it's a joke or whether it wasn't a joke, if someone says that you have offended them, respect the person's feelings. At least acknowledge that even they did say, okay, I was joking, but Mr. Charles did not take that as a joke. Listen, let's not break up this beautiful bond that we have over here. Can you at least, Miss Faith, and I really like you. Can you please, whether if it matters someone likes you or not, can you please acknowledge to Mr. Charles that I'm just coming in as a peacemaker right now, which I could just mind my business and maybe as I should, but that's just not me. When I see something, I'm going to say something. I might be wrong on something. I'll still come back and say, I'm woman enough to apologize. But this right here, and it's continuously, you're making comments in the chat, Miss Faith, that you're saying, well, everyone has an opinion. That is true. But when you're constantly saying things like, well, if you don't like it, you can, I'm not paraphrasing exactly what you're saying, something like kick rocks or something like that. After Auntie has already said, please do not use any derogatory remarks to one another. Everyone, this is Auntie's platform. Yes, we are the subbies, but at the same time, we're here to support Auntie. If you're really here to support her, you wouldn't continue to do the things that you're doing. So please, that's not acceptable. At least apologize and move on and don't keep making negative comments in Auntie's chat. Right is right, wrong is wrong. And you don't ever have to speak to me again if you choose not to. But I'm a 100% person. And I'm, as we say the saying, I keep it all the way real. I dish it and I can accept it. Don't
Mhm.
do this to Auntie's platform. It's not fair. And Mr. Charles was offended. Acknowledge that to him. Yes, you said it was a joke, but you keep on making comments. So either you meant it or you didn't mean it. If you didn't mean it, you wouldn't keep making those comments. That's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate you. And now, since I have you up here, we had talked about that other thing that you and I were talking about that you wanted to present to the chat. Did you want to do that since you're up
Yes,
here?
but you know what, Auntie? I have courtesy for you because you've already made the topic that you started off with, and look at the hour now
Hmm.
on East Coast, and you have
That's true.
plans.
Hmm.
So we could just set this up at a time that would be more suitable
Okay,
and not to
sweetheart.
mix it together.
Well, just let me know what would be a good date and time or a date for you, and we'll go
Well,
with
when
that.
you come back off of vacation, and enjoy, and I'm hoping you get to see Mr. Paxton. That would be a
You
beautiful
never
thing.
know. You never know.
Okay. Oh, let me keep my mouth shut then. Okay. Yes.
Never
Oh,
know.
and yes.
Vegas is small.
Right. Right.
Might
You're
run into
right.
each other on the street. Who knows? Never know.
Yes. And hello, Mr. Charles.
Hi,
Yo,
Charles. Welcome back, hon. Charles, are you there, sweetheart?
yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
step
First of all,
down and thank you for allowing me to speak.
Thank you so much.
All
You have
right.
a wonderful evening, hon.
You too. Bye bye.
Okay, bye bye. Okay, Charles.
first of all, I see when she wrote that I was wrong about the feds. That's ludicrous. I'm a grown man. Why would I get mad about that? I did the proper thing. I got off and I went to the law book and look. If I don't know something, I go research.
Hmm.
But the thing about it, she said it was a joke, but you can't joke with everybody. You don't know how somebody gonna reciprocate what you say. Because we was on the line, and that ain't nothing to play with. About being in the Fed, and that's why I was in the Feds. You got to be careful. You got to think before you say something, because you don't know how a person gonna react. That ain't my character. I don't go. But when something happened like that, and the thing about it, and she could have said that to me personally, but not put it in the chat with a bunch of
Hmm.
people in there.
Hmm.
My life, that's happened 30 years ago, you know. But
Yeah,
anyway,
I
enjoy your
understand.
yeah, I mean
I
you gotta think
understand.
yeah, you gotta think before you say something.
Hmm.
I don't come on disrespecting nobody,
Hmm.
even if it was a joke. But sometimes you can't joke like that. You really can't. You know, but anyway, enjoy your vacation
Thank you so much. And
and try to
like I
win some
said,
money.
I'm trying to be like you now. I don't think I'll get that lucky, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna
All right.
try. I
Enjoy
appreciate
your
you. Thank you.
later.
All right. Well, you guys, I want y'all to know that hey, I love all of you guys equally. I don't like this dissension amongst the people in the chat. I really don't, and I'm not trying to pick sides. I can understand where Charles is coming from. I can also understand where Faith is coming from as well. However, it is true that you do have to be mindful. Um, I understand, Faith. Everybody doesn't take a joke the same way. So I just want you guys to be a little bit more cognizant of uh, certain things. You know what I'm saying? Again, I love all of you, and I don't like to see dissension amongst my family members. So I hope everything works out between the two of you. Uh, and, we'll just take it from there because we got a long road ahead of us. If we're going to be a family, we got a long road ahead of us. And I appreciate every last one of you. I really do. So, and okay, so let me just put up what Faith said. I will not be silenced. I have my right to say whatever, and if it offended you, I did apologize. Thank you, Faith. You're right. You have a right to say whatever, and you won't be silenced. But I thank you for apologizing. I really do. Thank you. So let's see. Let's see. Let's go. Slot says, Auntie, I am so sorry for butting in, but I only said what I said because that's what I always see. I don't say much, so I am leaving because I feel offended. I'm sorry. Let's go. Slots. You feel offended by who? By what, sweetheart? Can you elaborate? Let's go. Slots. Could you please elaborate on that? Because I don't want you to feel offended either. I just want everybody to get along. Oh, Camille, I'll only be in there. I'll be only there for about 3-4 days. I can't stay long because I still gotta come back to work. Let's go. Slots. Can you please tell me what you mean by that, love? Because I don't want you to feel offended. I hope I didn't say anything to offend you. If I did, please let me know. Did I offend you? Let's go. Slots. Okay, Real Life Chronicles. Let's not keep it going. Okay, that's enough. She apologized. Now, please, let's not keep this going. Okay, I really would appreciate it. I understand how you feel, but please, let's not keep this going. Okay, I want everybody at this particular time to stop attacking each other. We're not going to do one ups on each other or anything like that. Let's stop it right now. Enough has been said. Enough has been said. And I think everyone has gotten their point across. Okay, protected by God. You have a wonderful evening. I just want to know if I offended Let's Go Slots. Okay, I was only saying that Faith was joking, then you jumped on me. How did I jump on you? Let's go slots. How did I jump on you? Thank you, Real Life Chronicles. Thank you. I'm not sure I understand how I jumped on you, sweetheart. Can you elaborate more, please? I don't want you to go. And if I offended you somehow, please tell me how I offended you. Thank you, Faith. Faith says, "Hey, Mickey, enjoy your vacation. Big money, no whammies." Yeah, there's a desire and fire. This is what it all boils down to, you guys. We all, as kin folks, have to respect each other's. Everyone doesn't joke. We have to give each and everyone with grace. I see a lot on here, but it does give grace. But I does give grace. Love all my kin folks. Yeah, it did, Barbara, and that's really unfortunate. I'm sorry it went like that. So again, it's, I wasn't aware of what was going on in the chat until I just saw a lot of bickering going on. So I had to address what I saw. And if I said something to you, Let's Go Slots, that was offensive, I apologize if it offended you. But because it is my platform, it's my responsibility to address what I see going on. So, hi, Carlos Johnson. Hi, Marzella C. I see you there. But I just want to make sure that everybody understands that, we have to respect each other. And especially, and respect the platform as well. Because if I see something, I'm going to say something. And I only reacted to what I saw when I saw it. So again, I hear you, Fonda. Yeah, I'm not sure what I said that was jumping on you. Let's go slots. So my apologies if you feel I jumped on you. Okay. So with all that said, I guess this is just the perfect time to cut this thing loose. Okay. I'm going to go and pack, and I'm going to enjoy my next 4 days. I may or may not go live. If I go live, it'll be in Vegas. So I hope you guys have a wonderful evening. God bless each and every one of you. And just know I love you. I will. Thank you. So peace out, y'all. Have a good one.
Hey Mickey, hey Mickey. Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you got my mind. Oh Mickey, you're so fine, you. Oh Mickey, you're so fine.
Hit the like button, it don't cost you nothing.